client testimonial is Joe Schroeder, who has been in a textile business for 30 years. He's been solving problems for 30 years. When he got downsized, he thought, like, Kim, where am I going to go? Everyone in the industry said, Schroeder's available. We want to talk to him. And people call him, not always for what he does, but he's like, Schroeder, you know everybody. Who do I talk to? So it's a very valuable skill to have. So who is ready for the first mistake, the biggest mistake people make? Yeah, all right, okay. So now, the reason why I want you to pay attention to this is because if you make this one and you liked my other 2 action steps, you'll never get to those 2 action steps because this one will prevent you from taking action. So the number 1 mistake people make when networking is not having a win-win mindset. I'll say that again. The mistake people make when networking is from the get-go not having a win-win mindset. Kim, I think I know mindset, but I don't know what win-win is, or Kim, I've heard about win-win, but what the heck is a mindset? I call mindset is how you view the world. I call it our life's camera lens. People say, you know, why do you see the world? You see the world through rose-colored glasses. Well, you see the world through gray ones, okay? It's true, it's real to them, but it's the way they see the world. So sometimes when we network, we forget to have a plan, right? That includes what you need and what you have to offer. We sometimes make the mistake of making the conversation all about ourselves, right? Which leaves the other person out. Well, why does that happen? We're good people, we care. Because you didn't have a win-win mindset from the get-go. So let me bring an example that I've already shared with you. You remember the 4 mistakes, right? The wallflowers, the Klingons, the sellers, the snipers. They didn't wake up and say, I want to alienate everyone in that room when I go to the meeting tonight. There's 2 mindsets that you can have. You either have a scarcity mindset, which is all about me, I gotta be about me, gotta get my needs because no one's gonna take care of me, I gotta get, now. And there's an abundance mindset, meaning there's enough for me and you, and it's available, and we just have to figure out how we're gonna just show up to the table. So wallflowers live in fear, and their insecurity makes them afraid to put themselves out there. Hit and run snipers just see networking as a numbers game, and unfortunately you're just a number. Klingons and sellers really do desire to connect, but they don't take the time to learn because they're busy focused on getting someone else to take care of them. You know, sometimes we just have to row our own boat along the sides of other boats, and then when we have a fleet, we can all row the same direction and it creates a wake, and then we all get there together. Experts and professionals, which I imagine you are, and have an abundance mindset. And this is where effective networking starts. And it's like an American Express card. Do not leave home without it. The mindset that you must begin with is that you have immense value and you know what you're worth. The biggest challenge I have in my coaching practice is reminding people that their net worth is not their value. Their value does not reside in their checkbook with the zeros. And I have clients with lots of zeros. And I have clients who need some zeros, like yesterday. That's not their value. Their value is what they have to give and the value that they provide others. So the work with a mindset is to identify what your value is, which you may know in your head, but if it's not written, it's not what? Real. And whom is best served by that value. When you begin networking, when you get onto this whole thing, it's like, you know, Scrooge on Christmas Day, where, you know, let's have it, you get a turkey and you get this and I'm going to help everybody and everything's going to be great. And you can do that. But if you work for a business or, you know, you work for yourself, in the mirror, you know, either you have a boss waiting at the office or in the mirror, there's someone saying, what did you do with my day? So you need to know what you want, what value you have to share to get it, and whom would be best served right now by that value. Okay, and that way you know who that person is someone who's willing to take action on what you're giving them and has the ability to pay you for it. And why is this important? Because if you don't have this mindset, the phone will not ring. And I think I saw quite a few hands that said they'd really like the phone to ring more often. And when you do this, and you know your value, you can say it clearly, compellingly, and you can be specific so I can get a mental, or anybody who's working with you could get a mental picture of who they know, who would love that outcome. That's when the referrals start. That's when the phone rings and they say, God, I wish I had a need for your service, but I have like 10 people back at the office. Would it be okay if I shared you? And you're like, let me think about that. So you definitely want to be ready to say yes for your success. And I want to give you the example of my client, Joe. After working with me several years and moving him up the ladder, he was a department manager, then he went to plant manager, and then he was going higher, bigger companies. I call him Madonna because he reinvents himself every couple of years like Madonna. He's like, Kim, I'm ready to do something new. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And I'm thinking it's something in alignment, like the next level. He's like, I'm going into sales. And I'm like, you are? Not that he's never been in sales. Not that he's not a wonderful, and he goes, yep, direct commission, going to be selling the chemicals that I buy. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, I think I should, everyone's been telling me I'd be great at this. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, as long as you're sure. And he did, I was a little bit scared for him because I'm like, he's very reserved, not like me. But I'm like, okay. And then he started the reality of dialing the phone. And he wasn't getting the response he wanted. And he was like, Kim, they're not calling me back. Like, he's like, he was told, and I said, Joe, welcome to sales. Remember when you were on the other end of the desk? He goes, yeah, I never answered the phone and that stuff. I said, yeah. So here's what you need to do. They have 20 people all calling them to get an order. So the question is, do you want to be an order taker or solutions provider? He goes, well, I'm a solutions provider. I said, I know, but are you leaving messages and are you stating that clearly in a compelling way? He goes, no, I'm probably just calling for the order. I said, try this on. And that's what I just shared with you. And he's like, amazing. He's like, I'm getting appointments left and right. And I said, what are you doing differently? He goes, well, when I'm talking differently. I did what you said. The gatekeepers are getting me scheduled in. He goes, and then I sit there and I don't ask about anything. I say, so what problems you're having? And they kind of look at me like, what do you mean, what problems? He goes, I've been doing your job for the past 30 years. He goes, so I've been on that problem, so I know the problems. I'm just saying, would you like to tell me? Because I can give you some solutions regardless about the products we're about to talk about. And he goes, Kim, their faces change. They sit back. They start telling me every problem they're having. I'm like, well, would you like me to go on the floor and take a look? They go, oh, yeah. And they walk, which is unheard of. Managers barely let you through the front door in his industry. He's getting the Tour de France in the back. And he's creating these great relationships. And they're like, okay, let's talk. And he's getting appointments and orders. And for those of you who know your first year in sales can be kind of daunting, he started doing this his first 6 months in sales. So I was really proud of him. So how can you do this? I would like for you, and who here downloaded the cheat sheet before they came? Anybody? It's okay, you're gonna get it today. All right. A cheat sheet. Did you hate about school? You got a pop quiz and then the teacher goes open book and you're like, phew. Okay, it's open book. So basically I'm inviting you to write what we call a 60-second compelling commercial. Basically who you are, what you do, and whom you do it for, and what the juicy benefit is to people who allow themselves to be served by you. And in that way, you're sharing with people, not in a salesy way. You're just telling people who you are in a way that makes them think, oh, I get what you do. You tell them whom is best serviced by you and the juicy result that you get wherever you go, and that's who I'm looking to help.